What's up, guys, and welcome to Against the Grain. We talk about everything you can imagine that is against the grain on this podcast. And this is the first time you're going to see an intro like this, probably the last time, hopefully the last time. You know, I can't say that. It'll be almost every time because I'm splitting up the episodes into two segments so that we can have more content for you guys and you don't have to listen to a whole 2-hour, 3-hour long podcast because we talk about a range of topics. Sometimes we can separate those topics out and put them where we want to put them to where it makes a good show. So it is what it is, and I'll explain it better as we go. But just know that this is for you. So, philosophical discussions and practical solutions for the average person in America today. Let's get to it.
I thought one of the best points it made was that like the next phase of capitalism doesn't need to be adding in socialist policies.
Against the grain!
This is for us. This is for the boys.
Oh yeah, what is your medical background?
I got that. You got that new gene edit? Just CRISPR me up, bro.
Give me some sugar, baby.
This is for the fly guys.
This is a complete disaster.
Do you guys think Trump's gonna win Republican primaries?
Depends, man. If Tucker Carlson runs with him, he might.
That's such a hot take. I love that you're throwing it out there.
I'm not gonna lie to you. You don't agree, dude? He bought a place in Florida, bro.
Would you rather?
He got fired.
Yeah,
He knew he was
like,
getting fired.
That's like saying Bezos bought a place in D.C. and therefore he's running for president. Who was saying that?
Do you think?
Yeah,
but Bezos is not.
Jay Cal was saying that.
But Bezos is not close to that. Tucker has mentioned it and joked about it, and other people have as well. And it's a thing that is possible, not like Bezos necessarily, right? So it's like saying The Rock could be president, which one day we might live in an idiocracy and he's there. But that's just a far-reached thing. I think he would run for president.
Level name.
I think he would.
I think you try to figure out. I don't think he'll do it at all. But like, I think he would only be president if he did it.
I think he'd run for president, and then whenever he doesn't make it, Trump's like, "Be my VP," and he's like, "Cool, I got you."
I don't think so. I think
I don't know.
Tucker's about to. I think Tucker's about to take a payday from an independent media, some smaller media company that wants to have a big dog on the show, and I think he's about to take it.
So do you
like a Tony Romo announcer deal?
Yeah, Tucker Carlson.
Tucker Carlson's about
He's
to
a
get
big
paid.
sport. He's a big sports guy.
You heard the
I just
prediction
think
here.
that
Tucker
he'll
Carlson's
get
about to get paid by somebody.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
yeah.
you think he'll actually go get? I thought he wouldn't get a job. He'd just go independent.
Yeah, which these conservatives.
No, he'll get paid by some mid-size.
The pockets are deep on these conservative aggregate media. Like, are you calling that independent?
Well,
like,
yes.
Is Daily Wire or the Blaze?
Yeah, okay. Daily Wire, I wouldn't consider there. The Blaze probably. Daily Wire's pretty big now,
wouldn't
right?
Consider what?
As independent, even though they kind of are, I guess.
So
but
you're calling independent whether it's
just
big
by
or
their
not?
value. Yeah.
No, yeah. Well, I guess, but whether he runs it or not himself. So maybe a Daily Wire still is because they kind of let you do your own thing.
That's actually a decent point that you didn't even make that I'm making.
Because I would say, hold on a second, dude. Because I would say like a podcast platform might say, "Hey, here's a deal, $200 million," and Tucker Carlson will probably take that. But it's still his own thing.
You don't even know yet if he's a good podcaster. You know what I mean?
No, dude, I'm making a point, and it's still his own thing, I guess. Maybe it's still independent, but he's still getting paid.
Like a solo thing.
Like a Megan Kelly
I didn't
thing.
expect him to get paid by a company to do something. I wouldn't expect him to be an announcer or any of that.
He might do both. I could see him having, structuring his contract in a way that he can do his own thing too on the side. But
yeah,
I think there's too many people that are going to come after him with too attractive deals. It's like Mahomes just got cut from the Chiefs.
He was $4 million a year was his salary, by the way. It's crazy.
Yeah, and people like Daily Wire has
and he had like 1 to 3
than that.
If the calculations are correct to some random Twitter guy, he had 1 to 3 years left on his contract, and they had to pay him out, or they usually do. Apparently, Fox usually pays out, so they paid him 1 to 3 years.
Yeah, if he works out a deal where he can do his own stuff on the side and collect from one of these, kind of newer, trendier internet conservative groups like Blaze or the Daily Wire, he's going to take that.
Turning Point USA.
I guarantee you.
I guess Daily Wire.
Even technically a media, they're just like an organization.
Daily Wire?
Right? I mean, no, TPUSA.
Oh, sorry, dude.
Like they put out some stuff on social media, but they're more of like
I don't know what they're.
They're like a.
I know what you mean.
They're a political organization, almost a think tank,
like a young adults
for not like Blaze
anti-socialists or whatever.
Daily Wire, where they try to have like 24/7 like actual. Daily Wire could probably pay him more than $4 million a year.
Well, he's probably already gotten offered. He's probably already gotten offered that. I would imagine. I just don't think he's going to take that. Him? I have no idea, dude.
What's Shapiro's opinion on Tucker?
I don't think Shapiro has the say here. It'd be the freaking guy that runs the. Who's the guy that runs the company? What's his name?
I forget, but isn't Shapiro like basically number 2 dude?
Maybe he is. I don't know, but I know the guy that's
Charlie
making
Kirk.
all these.
That's TP USA.
I thought you just said that.
No, I didn't say Charlie Kirk.
Are you talking about Shapiro?
Yeah, but the head of Daily Wire is not Spiro.
Oh.
It's
Somebody else.
and he's making all the decisions to come out with chocolates that say him, her, or him, he, him, and she, her.
Her.
Those are chocolates they came out with, and the him, her, or the he, her. Golly, dude! Wow, dude! Yo, this trans movement has got me messed up, dude. Okay, he, him has nuts in it, and the she, her does not. It was a joke, but they actually made chocolates like that just to do
a great product.
It's Daily Wire for you. Anyway, holy crap, dude.
Let's go.
I actually wanted your opinion, specifically yours, Jordan's, on the Bud Light thing. If you guys really want to talk about it, we don't have to, I guess. But
Aren't you the one who brought it up? If you guys really want to talk about it.
you guys want to talk about it? I didn't mean it like that.
No,
I didn't
I'm
mean it like
in.
that, but
I'm not.
I'll dice it up.
I'm not
I mean, like,
complaining.
look, dude, Bud Light basically comes out with this sponsorship for Dylan Mulvaney, who is a controversial to us, I guess, but not really controversial in the pop culture. He's like pretty famous as far as that goes for being a trans activist, quote unquote, but he's not really trans. He hasn't actually done the sex change or any of that stuff, right? So he identifies as a woman. He is a male. And Bud Light sponsors him and puts him on their cans, his face, just like that. And they did it a lot. I guess there was a lot of cans or whatever. And they had a lot of backlash. I don't know how many, like,
Lots of cans.
lots of cans,
Lots
bro.
of cans.
All
Big
the
cans.
tall boys, bro.
Wait, did they really?
Yeah, they did that.
I thought they just had one for him.
No,
a
they gave him a
in
can,
his-
and it was like multiples.
Oh, there's okay.
Like, this is what
and
we're
they
doing
ran
for
a
your
product line of
sponsorship.
it. Yeah.
It's like having the Dallas Cowboys on the Bud Light can, or the Raiders on the Dallas Cowboys, or what the heck, on the Bud Light can. But anyway, they did this, and they got a ton of backlash. They probably retracted it. I'm actually not sure what they did with the sponsorship
Didn't
deal.
somebody
No
say
one
they
really
fired
knows.
the marketing girl
They-
that was in
They
charge
put
of
them
it?
on. I did, yeah. They put her on leave.
Yeah.
They put her on leave, which essentially it could go either way, right? It's 50-50 shot of
They're
maybe
deciding.
or maybe they're letting her lay low while everything dies down, and then bringing her back, right? However,
of
they
that.
did that to the next guy. So the marketing person under her also
No,
just
over
got
her.
over her.
Wasn't
Also
it?
just
But
got
that was
put
weird
on
to me
leave, right?
that it's almost like they wanted to protect him because they called her out. They're like, we're putting this girl on leave, the VP of marketing, and her boss.
Well,
It was literally written like that, not exactly like boss, but and her supervisor.
right.
It's like so weird that it's like they wanted to have a scapegoat, but also still be able to bring back their talent.
Yeah, I'm not sure. What's
I don't know.
interesting
I'm
to
just
me is
reading
that
into it, but it was
there-
weird to me that they would call her out and not the other guy they put on leave, who was even more senior to her.
right, and of course their base is whatever. We already know who their base is, as far as who drinks Bud Light, So they're pissed. Do you think that Bud Light should apologize at all, or does it even matter?
Oh.
What do you guys think about that? Because like that's the conversation right now among a lot of people that are against it. They're like, why haven't they said sorry yet? They just put this girl on leave and they haven't said sorry.
I don't think they should apologize if they're
not obligated to.
If they
Right.
misread their base, the people that actually buy Bud Light enough that it actually starts affecting them. They just need to readjust what
Yeah,
they think their strategies were, carry on, and let this go a few years. Because I mean, demanding an apology out of them is doing exactly what we always
Dude,
complain about the left doing. So they should just carry on. Enough of apology is just not doing it again for a
They
couple
are
of years.
boycotting him for sure. Like their sales are down, supposedly calculations 31%, which is crazy in the last week.
I've wondered if that would have stuck. Like,
Yeah.
I remember when Nike was in the crosshairs.
We have to name a big brand and think about a time they were in the crosshairs
Right.
for a
Everybody-
hot second.
Right. Everybody says go woke, go broke. And I wonder why they say that, because all the richest corporations in the world are woke.
Yeah, they're still making it, dude.
So-
497 of the Fortune 500 companies
Yeah.
are. Well,
Yeah.
Yeah. Bud Light, well, Anheuser-Busch may be an exception to that, and they misread their base. Like their base is enough. And I think that's pretty possible because, I mean, lake culture, we've all been we hang out on lakes sometimes. We've been known to dabble.
Yeah, I didn't know how many
And-
brands Anheuser-Busch actually owns, dude.
I mean,
Like 400.
a lot. Yeah.
Stella in there.
Right. I don't think their brand was the right one to go this direction with. I don't know exactly how, if this just came from one side of marketing and everybody approved it. That's kind of silly. It really surprises me that it got through. If they had just stayed true to their thing and stuck with going woke, I wonder what would have happened. Like they may have recovered because they might have become popular with a whole different subset of people.
which is exactly what the intention of the marketing campaign was. So of course you
Right.
could see how you could pitch that. you could pitch that by saying, this is our current base. This is the untapped market of people who don't buy us because of our brand affiliation, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
Well, the big deal of it is actually because Dylan Mulvaney, his base is all young kids. Like it's like 14 and under.
Right. I think she was trying to set up.
And since his base is so young.
Why am I steel manning this?
His base is like teenagers essentially. I said 14 and under. I should have said like 10 and up or something, but whatever. Teenagers. And so, hold on, listen, dude. That's why it's such a big deal, and that's why people are freaking out about it, because they're like, hold on a second. They don't really care if you're trying to market differently because you need to get to the generation coming up to sell your product to them or whatever. They care because it was such a young audience.
If did somebody call that out?
You can say that about all the athletes that
no one called it out. It
was
assumed because Dylan Mulvaney's audience that they're sponsoring him on this beer was teenagers. So
yeah, it's
either just a terrible business decision.
I definitely don't agree with the.
There's definitely a terrible marketing decision.
Yeah, terrible marketing decision, or it actually
But
I'm just telling you what people are saying. They're going.
The reason I'm
riled
not
up over
so
it,
convinced that it wouldn't have worked out in the end is because this has happened with. Now, Nike didn't see 31% dip, but Nike saw a little dip when they were in the crosshairs. But now they just shatter records all the time now. You know, it's fine. And that's been the case with a lot of people. They go woke and they go broke for a minute, and everybody's like, go woke, go broke, and they flex how much their sales and their stock dropped. But nobody talks about it 5 years later when this company
5 years.
5 months.
5 months, dude. 5 weeks,
maybe the following year.
This was Crystal's point on Breaking Point. She's like, Nike literally gets away with this all the time. You guys aren't boycotting them. Where is their 31% dip?
Yeah.
It's not that big.
Right,
She was making that comparison.
5% dip or
it's crazy, right?
It's completely recovered and breaking records. Bud Light probably would have taken longer. It was probably a whole miss to begin with. So for them, they definitely shouldn't apologize. They should just readjust if that's what they're going to do.
Right.
But
give it a few weeks and they'll be back at it again.
Be back to normal. But I guess the point I always kind of wanted to make about this was if they did go full woke and they just stuck to it, eventually they probably would have just been kind of a different brand and it might have worked out. Don't know. I don't know that that's not the case. I don't know that it is. I'm just saying. It's worked.
There's just so many competitors on that doesn't matter. You just go to Coors,
the
it's the same
light beer
stuff.
drinking community is probably just not right for this kind of marketing. So,
yeah, the whole corporate apology to me it's just always so shallow and meaningless. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, you don't feel better after
the public pressuring a corporation to apologize does literally nothing. You're doing the right thing if you're not buying. Like I try not to buy Nike. They don't have the ideals that I want to stand for.
Body.
Got to represent guys
Correct.
right here.
Yeah, correct. I have a fairly flat foot, and they don't
make
a
joke.
Shoes for me. But no, that's just kind of. I have certain things that I try not to participate in. I don't make a big stink about it on social media or whatever. But the Republicans and the right in general, we all for the last however many years, we've called people snowflakes and all this stuff, and whenever. Uncle Ben and Land O'Lakes
Aunt
butter,
Jemima,
Aunt Jemima, all this stuff. And we were calling the left snowflakes and, getting on to them. I'm like, man, who cares? Don't buy the beer. Do buy the beer. It doesn't, to me, it just doesn't matter. That stuff, if you want to boycott them, boycott them.
I didn't buy a lot of Anheuser-Busch.
Okay, hold on a second.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's pretty easy to boycott. Yeah, I know a lot of non-sports fans that boycotted the NFL.
Yeah, to me, boycotts have become a social justice thing instead of buying whatever you're not wanting to support.
But on this specific thing, do you not think that type of culture bleeds into other things? So, do you want to see the trans movement being way more accepted? Do you specifically want to see the trans movement being way more accepted?
I don't follow how you're getting to that point.
Well, Dylan Mulvaney is trans activist. I'm just saying that it bleeds into pop culture more and more and more, and it's scope creep essentially, just like you would like legislation going a little bit more on guns or whatever.
Are you asking that because we didn't say that they should apologize?
No, I don't care about that part.
Okay, let me step back here. Do I personally support the trans movement? No. Do I respect their right to try to support themselves and gain advertisements? Yeah, anybody should be able to do that.
Yeah.
In any way, shape, or form.
Sounds like we're kind of taking a free market approach to it, where consumers should vote with their dollars. Companies can vote how they want with their advertising campaigns.
I'm just always so disappointed in the right's hypocrisy on what we always blame the left, and both sides do it.
Yeah, because if you're
It's
outraged,
so dumb. We have the perfect opportunity to be the bigger person, and every single time we don't do it. We do the exact same thing that the left. We always accuse the left of, and we always say, "Oh, y'all are this way, and y'all are snowflakes," and then they're almost bigger. Snowflakes.
What's interesting is that, like, this for many. Let's take it from a Christian point of view, right? You see this and you say, "Okay, that's that is wrong. That this person's lifestyle is not the way that we were intended to live our lives."
I wouldn't say it's only Christian, but yes, I agree.
Yeah, no, there's many people that feel that way. But my point being is, like, when the left see things like pro-life movements, or I'm trying to think of another good example,
gun
movements, right? They have the same, it's opposed to their worldview.
Yeah, so it's in the same. It's
in the same way, and so to be like, oh, this is wrong. I can take a,
we're cheering
social
when
justice
when
warrior
somebody
about
stands
this,
up for guns, like when a company makes a stand like that.
So yeah, I'm defending your point on hypocrisy.
Yeah, it's
hypocrisy.
Ted Cruz
everywhere.
Ted Cruz literally said the words "shut up and dribble" in response to LeBron James taking some political stance, but he cheers on when there was a couple NFL players that took a big stand during the flag or whatever.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, LeBron does a lot of politics, and sometimes
who's LeBron?
Sometimes you can make a case for somebody just goes so far with it that maybe they have a little bit of flack coming their way, but still, you're going to see conservative politicians cheer on conservative taking a stance athletes, and they're going to say things like that. They're going to say, "Oh, get politics out of the sport," when it's someone on the left.
I think that this has gained so much traction versus the other random boycotts and cancel culture because Matt Walsh had just had a documentary about what is a woman, and then we're on this trans train right now as far as trying to get that out of the way or defeat it, so to speak, in public schools and all those things, and allowing kids to be sex changed without the parents' consent. That's happening right now. So I think that when Dylan Mulvaney gets slapped on a Bud Light can, it does affect.
Yeah, that's a good point. And you and me were talking about this the other day when we were hanging out.
It's not just right-wing people that are against this right now.
The trans movement specifically is like one of the first social issues that I've almost feel like the right is kind of like winning on.
And so to that point,
the trans movement seems to be kind of losing, like with mods, like the needle has been shifting because a lot of this focus on young kids that seems to always, for some reason, walk hand in hand with this movement.
Right.
Why is that?
Do you want the
lay it down?
This is clearly a sexual perversion, just like further.
It's a fetish.
And the trans community, specifically like the super over the top loud minority of even the trans community,
right,
seem to be obsessed with putting themselves in front of kids all the time. And I think that when you get to a certain point of sexual perversion, you get to the point of like, oh, I want to change my gender / I start getting interested in things that aren't legal, and you just drift in that direction. It's just kind of a logical progression of perversion.
There's already some
anything else just gets worse and worse.
Yeah.
It's like Epstein Island, right?
Yeah, I was about to say it kind of goes back to that. Like you have these celebrities that have millions and millions of dollars. They've done everything they can possibly do.
Legal stuff
and
that
now,
doesn't get them off
legal
anymore.
stuff just doesn't do it anymore. They have to find these insane ways to.
Yeah. So
it bleeds into our culture and then becomes legal.
Yeah. So for some, I mean,
I'm sorry. That's why I would take more of a defense
on
on this. I would be more about, hey, we shouldn't have this. Now, I agree with you, though, because it is hypocritical, because we always do this. It's always a cancel them, and it's both sides doing it all the time, right? I would say this is different than canceling. It's boycotting. There's a difference. However, still the same thing.
There?
Yeah.
No, it's
boycotting is different than canceling.
That's what I was saying earlier.
What's the difference?
Modern day boycotts are just cancel culture.
Well, no, I just
what boycotts are you?
Define it.
Yeah, so boycotts is you voting with your own dollars, right?
Okay.
Canceling is demanding that everyone else around you and people in authority
good
take
job.
that down.
But they're almost one and the same.
I agree with that.
They're almost.
I wanted to hear him.
Yeah,
I did want to hear him say it.
The articulation would have been off, but it's whatever.
Well, they're all. But nowadays they're almost one and the same. Anytime there's a boycott, there's always these social media people
may
taking
use
to
the
it
word.
and using cancel culture or trying to.
That's why
get that
I'm
going.
defining it now, because people do just interchange those words a lot now because of how much
nowadays
we've
it's
used it.
pretty much the same thing.
I will go ahead and go on record. I'm a big time boycotter. I'm a grudge holder.
Same.
Like I do need the company. Like,
Dude, lay it down for Chick-fil-A right now.
yeah.
Lay it down, dude.
I have,
What's up with
I
that?
have very few, totally random and totally justified in my own head companies that I like have hardcore boycotted. It's absolutely subjective in every way, and it's
rattle them off.
It's a scored system based on whether I'm willing to give them up, and also if they piss me off enough. And one of them is Nike. I thought they took it so much further, and there's a lot of so much further than all the other companies in their industry in terms of how vocal they went about every issue that I disagreed with. And not only that, like I said, I have my own subjective measures, like how convenient is it to actually boycott them. There's so many alternatives. Like I don't need Nike. It's so easy to
Such
just
a competitive
buy
market.
It's so easy.
Yeah,
to buy Under Armour
who
Adidas.
needs it?
So it's so easy
Who needs
to buy
it,
them.
guys?
So secondly, Chick-fil-A.
That's what I wanted to hear.
Because they went. I hate the lukewarmness. I don't like you profiting off being the Lord's chicken and being closed on Sundays and everything. When on the back end, you're totally giving in to the LGBTQ movement and you cut funding to all these Christian organizations based off their demands, because they said that you're anti-gay, when they actually hire gay people all the time and like they don't take any active measures against it.
Is it the Lord's chicken, dude? It's so
not.
good.
It's not. It's the lukewarm chicken. And so I've chosen to boycott them. I have a lot of other options. And people are like, you go to Starbucks? Yeah, because they're not
claiming you.
They don't have an identity crisis. They're
in your face about what they do.
I have my random little ways, and it's usually based on if it's like feasible for me to boycott them, as in I have other options in that market sector, and if they just particularly individually piss me off enough. And then I hold it for years. Both of those have been years. And
since as long as I've known you, pretty much it's been Nike, Chick-fil-A for sure, 100%. So
yeah, Bud Light's probably on my list, even though I'm not saying they should apologize. I probably won't really ever buy any of that because I didn't really. Anyway.
I was gonna say, did you really drink it anyway, dude? Come on, let's be honest
so, yes,
here.
I'm
Dude, silver bullet all the way, dude. That's me, of course. If I'm gonna have a light beer like that,
Miller
of course.
Coors.
Miller is.
I've got some strong
That's
boycotts.
the same company now, and
Miller's a fine pilsner. That's what I love about it.
yeah, it is.
That's a fine pilsner.
It's the everyman.
Miller is
beer.
the move.
Gives me a
It's
headache.
Texas.
Glenn
It's good.
Youngkin likes Miller.
Gives me a headache, bro.
Oh, Glenn Youngkin? Yeah, it's right down the middle.
You know he likes.
Is Yingling light beer? I'm not asking because I think so. I'm asking just because.
It's bad beer.
No, Yingling, is it light beer? I don't think it's light.
No, it's not.
It's not like
It's a dark
it's like
lager,
a-
right?
No,
it's
it's
like
not
a craft.
dark lager.
It's like a cheap beer masquerading as a craft beer. That's what Yingling is.
Isn't it like pretty much
Nice.
amber if you pour it in a glass?
It's an amber.
It's
an
an
amber.
Yeah, I think
Hey,
it
all right.
is. I think it's
No, it's
specifically.
You said it was a dark
I
lager.
said I think it's a dark
You're
lager.
saying it's a craft beer.
We
No,
thought.
I said
it
it's
smells-
masquerading
Holy
as a craft beer.
guacamole, dude.
Okay.
Well, Nolan, he's staunch on this one. You like Yingling?
I do
You
like
know
it.
what?
It is not my preferred refrigerator beer.
Nice,
But
dude.
yeah,
Cool. Okay, yeah, that settles it, man. Bud Light sucks. So
yeah.
whatever.
Boom.
In there like swimwear. The
Can
next
I-
thing I wanted to talk about
Oh, you
is
go.
this thing. Speaking of trans movements, in Fort Worth, dude, at Fort Brewery, they held a family-friendly drag show, and this was on Sunday
Oh, I heard about
afternoon. And it says they invited Antifa. However, what's funny about this is the three people that were involved in the quote-unquote Antifa side of it are there all the time and have been protesters against the people that are praying. So there are people that are praying outside this Fort Brewery, trying to, protest, essentially peacefully protest the family-friendly drag show for obvious reasons.
Wait a second. So this has been the family-friendly drag show has been an ongoing thing that people have been protesting against or
Yes.
something. Okay,
Good.
All right.
Yeah. So they're protesting. They're called NC Movement, which is, I guess, I don't know what that is. However, they go and they pray at these places. They're peaceful protesting to drag shows, anything that has to do with the kids and trans movements in the local area. These Antifa people are always at their protests for like the past year.
Oh, this is okay. Sorry, this is an opposite take on another article that I saw that was totally painting the people who were assaulting the police as members of the right who were attacking peaceful protesters. This is saying that Antifa
were the three
leftist-
people that were attacking the police.
Oh no.
Yeah, Antifa's
Antifa
leftist.
being a
I would say
leftist
leftist.
organization. So this is painting it as the left being in the wrong.
Right.
Article I read was showing the right was in the wrong.
Peaceful protesters.
Because the I don't know. I have
That
no idea.
this is
an
the
opposite
state
take.
of mainstream media right
Yeah,
here.
This is an opposite take.
Interesting. I think this is the correct take, though, because they are there all the time, and police are always there. However, there's a girl named Megan, and this girl named Megan always likes to start stuff. It's never escalated until today, or Sunday, this day. She actually started shoving a cop and everything else, and then you can see it in the footage that they had, and she gets pepper sprayed after the other dude with her pepper sprayed a cop. So they tackle him. They take him down. Point is, it happened in Fort Worth. That's why I'm bringing it up.
Right here in Fort
It's
Worth.
a current event, and the cops actually did what they probably should do. They took these protesters that
Yeah,
were
it sounds like a pretty reasonable.
these quote unquote
backlash.
Antifa members, and they arrested them. Said, "See you later, bye."
Sounds like a pretty reasonable response to me.
Yeah, the thing I question is how often this is happening right now. The police actually doing that. You know what I mean?
Doing what?
Taking
Using
Antifa members,
reasonable-
quote unquote, and arresting them.
Just totally varies by region.
Yeah,
Think-
totally. What I was thinking is how
In
often
Dallas, it would have been completely different. I think.
Yeah, how
180
this is-
difference.
what sounds like a reasonable response of getting pepper sprayed, and you're going to get tackled and pepper sprayed back, and which is a completely reasonable response, and it wasn't completely taken out of, like completely escalated and taken over the top with violence or whatever.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, you
I
watch
mean-
the footage and it's like they set their bikes up to as a barrier essentially against these three people.
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought it was excessive as far as policemen go, but whatever. Doesn't matter to me. Not excessive as far as how many they had there. Like two people could have just freaking taken these people down. Pfft.
Mm.
But it doesn't matter. That's not the point at all. You know what I mean?
Well, like I
What-
think kind of like what I was saying earlier about how the right is kind of winning right now on the trans issue.
This would be one of them, right?
Well, it's kind of an example. It's kind of hard. It's become very hard for the left to defend.
Oh yeah, this is a tweet by the way. I wanted to
When
shout
the
out to
headline share-
protect Texas
okay.
kids. Sorry.
Whenever the headlines kind of share, it was a drag show where there were kids, and there were protesters that were in defense of that, and something happened to them. It's just like nobody can really. They just have no angle to defend it, and so like these things don't go as viral on the other side of them complaining about it. I've
Yeah.
noticed
Good point.
it was a couple of years ago, and I feel like that's why I was saying this is one of the few issues where the right like kind of won the public's opinion.
It kind of
Like,
reminds me
Because they
don't-
swayed it to a partisan
yeah,
issue now.
It's like
it's not
only
just
viral on our end.
bipartisan
now. I
issue.
feel like I don't see a lot of the left people.
I feel like a moderate-
defending drag shows.
I feel like a moderate
they happen?
leftist
I don't
is
know.
going to look at pictures of these people that are in front of children performing or doing whatever they're doing, and generally speaking, not like it. And then if somebody's there trying to protect them or whatever, and then something escalates and all that stuff, like, I mean,
And you know what? This sucks. I don't understand who's going to these drag shows. Like which parents are letting their kids
Yeah.
go to these drag shows. I don't feel like they're sneaking up on the parents. Like I feel sorry for these kids.
Yes.
and they are pretty much in a tough situation no matter how you look at it.
So
whether or not the drag shows continue to happen,
Great point.
they're living with
Their parents are
that allowing
choosing
them
to
do
bring
this.
them to that
These
event.
kids are beginning
who are
that means-
millennials. They're
that
our
means
generation.
they're getting exposed to this kind of thing at home anyway.
Right.
Like I feel like the drag show issue, I hate it. I hate that it exists at all. But like it's not like it's affecting your kid that you're the parent of that goes to the school that you approve. Like they're not just getting taken away to Fort Brewery to go to a drag show. This is happening only with parents who are deciding that like
Yeah,
You know
because
what
Fort Brewery had to let parents in.
you know what? Honestly, I want to do
parents had to
is
decide.
I
want
want to go to one and see what the heck it is.
You can. There's a lot of them on YouTube.
I know. Oh well, okay, I could watch one, but I don't know.
You don't.
Do you
it's
wanna
just
watch
like-
one
Is
now?
it literally like, okay, we're
it's-
literally doing a drag show, or do they
Have you seen?
kinda
You haven't
storied
seen
out-
some of the clips?
They sexualize it.
Oh, they're
A lot.
insane.
So-
they're
Well,
just
is it
insane.
kind of set up like, oh, we're gonna do a play and all that stuff?
Oh,
and then
like
all
is it a
this-
surprise?
yeah,
you mean?
well, not necessarily a surprise, but like, is it kind of set up as like, oh, we're gonna do this little play and this little show, and then it kind of gets sexualized a little bit. Obviously, I've seen
Whoa.
pictures. No, I understand, but like as far as what they're setting it up to, as far as parents go, how they're laying it out to them on what's about to happen, or do they say, oh nope, this is a drag show, we're gonna have a bunch of men in speedos?
Oh, I
and
see what you're
stuff
saying.
like
How
that.
extreme
Well,
is
there's
it?
enough-
What's their
I don't-
description
I
of
don't
this?
understand. What's the description of what's happening?
Nolan, I don't know like what each event is described at, but there's enough clips online
Yeah.
of what these drag shows always turn into
Right.
that again, like as
So
the
the
parent,
definition now we've given
why
it.
were you there to begin with?
drag show, I
why
guess,
was your
fits.
kid there
I
to
mean, is
begin
it
with?
literally like your kid's school? There's a flyer. Hey, field trip, drag show at the top of it, or is it? Oh, we're gonna go to this place and we're gonna have all these stops, and then this one stop is gonna be this.
I don't feel like
show or
very
whatever.
many of them are sponsored by schools. Maybe in like super leftist areas, like maybe on the West Coast or Northeast or something. But it's at Fort Brewery.
Yeah, it's weird,
I
right?
don't think this is school.
How is it in
sponsored.
front of kids at a brewery?
Well, because parents were allowed
Kids
to come
can go
in.
into
It was an
breweries.
event that
I'm
the
sure-
brewery set
I'm
up.
sure they were brought by their parents.
Yeah, the event was, our brewery was like, hey, let's do a drag show, and then parents.
Probably just to hang
So
out.
it's not
and
necessarily
brought their kids.
aimed at kids necessarily. It's just that kids are allowed to be there.
That's a very common theme
That's
with it,
interesting.
Nolan. And there's always a lot of kids.
And kids are encouraged, I
So
guess,
is
to
this
be in
like
it.
the
I
event
don't
we
know.
went to the other day
Okay.
that was kind of like you go there
Whoa,
and it's kind
what?
of
What event?
What
Oh
event?
my gosh, chill out. Like the event we went to the other day that was like music and you're just hanging out on the
like Friday on the Green?
Friday on the Green thing, and it's just one of their headliners is a drag show. Like kids can be there.
No, usually
There's
from my
alcohol, there's
understanding-
food, and a drag show.
From my understanding, it's usually drag shows are
Based.
usually pretty specific events in smaller venues. Usually not like Friday on the Green.
Yeah.
It's usually like the brewery or something.
Yeah.
And you're kind of going for that, and they are almost always like pretty sexual, pretty much always.
Yeah, I mean I've
And-
seen
and
pictures,
like
but
I think the logical analogy is this okay if it was just heterosexual and it was just girls doing it? Like, would this be the same level of approval? Like, there's bars like in Fort Worth, right? The Bodega Bar or whatever. It's not really a strip club, but you go in there and they just have girls in that are like in that cage, in a cage or whatever.
yeah.
And they're not nude, but they're just doing all kinds of sexualized dances all the time. And no one would ever argue
What's the
that like kids should be in that place.
Yeah.
But you go to like this one of these events and it's fine for the kids to be there for some reason, and they're doing exactly the same thing.
Yeah. I don't know. It's wild. Basically what I'm getting is hard for me to imagine just a straight up, hey, this brewery, there's going to be a drag show, 5:00, bring your kids, and people actually intentionally bring their kids. It's
Well,
just
even if-
weird
So
for me to
the way I'm seeing this,
for
at
it
the
to be
Fort
that
Brewery,
intentional.
this is the flyer for it, right?
Okay, bam, drag brunch. Here we go.
And it looks like it's not really kid oriented. I guess kids
I think
were brought
people
to this.
just bring their kids.
Yeah, parents just brought their kids to this
Scroll
specific
down.
one.
I'm curious what it reads. Go to whatever the description is. Does it have a description?
Ladies and gentlemen, as you step onto our patio, you'll be transported to a world of glitter and glitz with vibrant colors, flashing lights, and a buzz of anticipation in the air. Our talented drag performers will take the stage to entertain you. You'll be amazed by their
So
dazzling
it doesn't
clothes.
call out kids.
No kids,
anywhere.
no kids.
Yeah,
It,
interesting.
it doesn't even
That's
say
not the-
family friendly. It says bring your friends, family, coworkers.
This isn't
and
like
indulge
the
in
other
a
ones that have been
fun-filled-
on the internet. I'll say that
Like
right
Drag
now.
Queen
But the
Story Hour,
article
which was like-
said family-friendly drag show, which means when you say family-friendly,
Okay.
that's
The only-
intentionally
hold on.
meaning bring your kids.
The only reason they said that is because Fort Brewery came up with a statement.
okay.
And the guy that runs it, the marketing side of it, the PR guy said, we're a family-friendly environment. We're not going to tell parents not to bring their kids, whether we have a drag show or a regular brewing hour, whatever
Okay.
the heck.
I
So that's why the article took it and said, oh, it's family-friendly, because the place is always family-friendly.
yeah, there's not an age limit on the place.
They're
And
not
I
having
think-
like
They don't have
after,
liquor.
after 9:00. No, 21 and up kind of thing.
And
Right.
I'm not. I think what I'm trying to say is, I'm not really making a claim that they always are like marketing these to kids.
Yeah.
But they do these things in venues where kids
kids are
can
allowed.
come.
And that's
A lot
why
of
he
times they're
said
there.
it's on the parents.
And it's both A, on the parents, but also B, this type of event isn't accepted as a family friendly environment
Yeah.
when it's not trans.
Yeah.
Like when it's not a drag thing. Like nobody would go to the same event, but it just be girls. Like, first of all, people don't even really they don't even really like do that. But even if they did, and they did the same type of dances and wore the same type of clothes, everyone would unanimously agree this wasn't a kid environment.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
So whether or not they market it to kids, the fact that it's like, oh, kids can be there, it's what?
Yeah.
and I think it just
It's not
affects
consistent.
Yeah, and I think it affects it, or it matters a lot now because we're realizing that the how do I say this? The laws are being changed to allow kids to do all the trans stuff, the sex changes and all that stuff, and that's why That's why it's being pushed right now.
Yeah, I mean,
again,
it's
that's why
wild.
being pushed
It's
right
hard
now.
for me to believe and accept, I guess.
This specific thing probably has been happening for a while. Like this specific thing is fine. Like the trans thing, I want to make it clear.
Drag shows.
I'm not I want to make it clear. For me, obviously for religious values, I'm against it. However, for the basic principles of society, I don't care if you're a freaking 21-year-old plus person that decides to do this to yourself. It is what it is.
Well, 18.
But I'm 18. As soon as you're like an adult, technically, I guess, whatever. But I'm against it under that. I'm against it, you being able to make that decision yourself whenever you can't even get a tattoo for yourself, or you have to go to war, but you can't decide to. I mean, I just don't think that's an option you should be given as a teenager.
I mean, pretty clearly, this is.
I just want to make it clear. I'm not against all this, like all trans ever. You know what I mean? Like if I met a trans person today, I'd be like, "Cool, what's up?" But it would. I mean, if they're young and they're kids and they don't have any, like they don't know. They don't know enough to know.
If we go off all the other social cues that our government has, then this should clearly be you probably 21 and up, at least 18 and up type of event. But yeah, it is pretty bonkers that as soon as trans enters the thing, it's just family friendly. Anybody can come.
And there's enough clips. Like there's enough. Like people understand what these events actually are. Like the culture knows.
I think it matters too because you guys will be dealing with this.
Well, I guess that's what.
Not dealing with it.
I think I will be.
No, but not dealing with you. Okay, look.
The conversation.
Do you understand that? You're gonna have the conversation.
Will have to have been had.
You will have the
some
conversation.
Point, probably pretty early, much earlier than I would want to have that conversation.
Stuff, I won't
That's
be
what I mean.
dealing with it. I'm not at all worried about.
Dude, I know that. I get that.
Situations,
right. Yeah. It's just gonna have. Now it's a conversation, and it wasn't always a conversation.
No.
Yeah.
When I was growing up, it wasn't a conversation.
There's a lot of conversations that are going to be
new
new to us. Yeah.
Yeah. As far as kids go, there's a topic. That's pretty much all I got as far as topics, man. I wanted to talk about the Tucker thing. We kind of hashed that out off the pod.
I got one for you.
We don't have a lot of things going on.
Did Nolan have a
Hit us
topic
up, dude.
for the day? No. Okay, cool.
All right, I'll pitch in for Nolan. Do you see that link I sent about that pastor at Gateway Church here in South Lake in Fort Worth?
You know what?
We are about to.
Let's hit it.
You don't even
you want to read it? Okay, you got it.
How long is the video? If it's under a minute and a half, you can play it.
The video has to be because it's Twitter.
What's the caption? Can you scroll?
All right, I'll just summarize it for you.
Okay.
This.
Let me make sure it stops first.
Want to listen to it?
I want to make sure it stops first. It is doing some weird stuff here.
While he's working on that, you can summarize.
Yeah.
So basically, this the post came from Reddit, so it was a post attacking this. I want to get your guys' take on it. This pastor basically at one of the largest churches in Fort Worth basically says, "Hey, just so you guys know, there are candidates running for school board from our family of churches," and he specifically said, "We don't endorse specific candidates, but if your uncle was running, you would want to know about it. So make sure you get out there and vote." And it was a little more than that, but that was the gist of it. And so what he's being attacked for is because, this church, there's been clips of this over the past few years, has kind of advocated for, voting and potentially endorsing or close to endorsing different candidates. And while you could argue, he didn't actually endorse anyone, certainly by making the analogy of your uncle of these other members that they've never heard of at these other churches, it's kind of like an implicit endorsement.
Yeah,
so
I guess the celebrity getting up. I'm not endorsing this, but you should. It's available for purchase.
Be aware that this person's running. Yeah. So I guess my question is, what are your guys' thoughts on, the church's involvement in politics, specifically candidates, wanting to mention specific candidates?
Can I ask you one question before we go any further? Why does this say it's disgusting? Is it that big of a deal?
This is a Reddit post.
No, Reddit, I know. Yeah. I thought it'd be something different.
No, I'll tell you why. I mean, I spent enough time on Reddit to kind of know where the sentiment comes from. Basically, churches are tax exempt, right? They're nonprofits, and so because of whatever tax exemption they have, they shouldn't be allowed to endorse specific candidates for some reason. Like they can't be politically involved in some ways.
I have a rebuttal for that, but.
Listen, I'm not an expert. Maybe I'm saying it wrong, but this is kind of how it comes across on Reddit.
To you explaining that, I bet they do say that on Reddit. a rebuttal to their, if that's what they're saying.
Okay, so now back to the question you asked. So do you think it's good or not?
It's a general question, really.
Yeah.
But like, what's your guys' stance on the church's involvement in elections and how they even talk about it?
Yeah, I'll have something really small. Just says separation of church and state. I thought that was a big deal. I don't really know why. I haven't researched it. I just know that was one of the things the founding fathers was like, hey, separation of church and state. No, it's not.
That's not true.
Cool, awesome, thank you. That's all I got.
This is not a church. This is not a church that's involved or making laws in the
brainwashed.
government in any way.
Yeah, I have.
This is not. They're not making laws. They're not. They don't have voting machines at this church, and the pastor's up there, talking to you while you're voting or anything. It's just, to be honest with you, I don't have any problem with it. I'm pretty sure my pastor has talked about this kind of stuff before. I don't know, unless there's some legal thing that I'm overlooking.
There's not.
I don't see there's any issue with this.
Yeah, I don't think personally. I'm not too much about having my pastor like making political endorsements from the pulpit. Like if it was my own church,
Yeah.
that would be one thing. But
Well-
but like if you have a problem with some like the leader of some organization basically making an endorsement, and you don't
It
even
happens
go,
all the
and
time.
you don't even go to that organization, then whatever, sucks for you. If you go to Gateway Church and you have a big problem with it, then don't go to Gateway Church.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, this happens all the time. Leaders of organizations that
Yeah.
probably shouldn't be endorsing candidates, like whoever
Well,
posted
and
this
why
Reddit
not?
post.
You can
If they're atheists and there's some big atheist leader who is most likely not endorsing but advocating for some candidate.
I think where they
Yeah,
take
it's gonna be the
offense,
same thing.
I'll try and devil's advocate, where they take offense to it is that these organizations don't have the same tax privileges that churches have.
But
Because whenever these posts comes up, it's always in the context of take away their blah 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 status. I don't.
But
What was the
513
subreddit this was in?
nonprofits endorse
I saw this on R all, so I don't know
Oh,
which one.
Yeah,
it
our
was on.
Fort Worth.
nonprofit organizations endorse political candidates all the time when those political candidates match their special interests. All the time.
Yeah.
Electrical co-ops endorse a candidate every year. It's the one that's policies are more favorable for electrical co-ops.
Yeah.
That's just the first nonprofit I'm thinking of. They're tax exempt. It happens all over the place. All different types of nonprofit organizations actually like literally get up and say they endorse a candidate.
Yeah.
Why shouldn't a church? And I don't know anything about his is a little weird because it's kind of like this buddy thing because they're like in the church. Like it's apparently somebody running for it that goes to one of the Gateway family churches.
That's a little strange.
Still,
Just-
that's
just-
strange if I went to that organization. I don't guess I really have a problem with it, but I grew up in an environment where where like churches supported certain political candidates very, very clearly, basically on paper, basically from the pulpit. And it's because they had a few select moral issues that they were usually super passionate about, and they thought that those trumped the other ones. And generally that was most often pretty much the one that was always talked about was abortion.
I mean, a long time ago,
Right.
dude.
So they were pretty much in favor of pro-life candidates, and if there was two choices to be made, and one was pro-life and one wasn't, the church had no shame in pretty much endorsing it from the pulpit. Yeah.
Yeah, way back in the day, I guess these churches were just community based, and so it was your whole community goes to this church. What happens then? You know what I mean? That means everyone is in this church. All of your political members and everyone else is in this same church.
I look at it from the other side. If a leftist or non-Christian organization or whatever, whatever it may be, a church or business, whatever, if they all get together and endorse somebody or advocate for a candidate, I'm not gonna have
Like some kind of
how could I have a problem with
you know?
that?
So
Like a
why are
church?
they
the money.
calling it
It's the
illegal?
money.
Why are they calling it illegal?
That is something
That's
I would
what
need to look into.
wanna
I don't know.
I don't know. I haven't seen any comments that
curious.
say
I don't know
anything
the
about it.
rules against tax exempt entities.
I also will
endorsing
say that
candidates.
I'm not super familiar with churches doing it with local candidates. I grew up where it was all about like governors, senators, presidents,
Federal elections.
Yeah, maybe statewide. I mean, I was in small town churches, and they were never really making recommendations on local stuff. Sometimes both people running were in the church, like the opponents were.
That's
Yeah, I think
hilarious.
these
The same
comments
church.
also
I mean,
missed it as far as legal goes.
This one's kind of weird because isn't it for school board?
Yeah, can we watch
Yeah.
it? Can we
And,
watch this?
and I think they're kind of getting into the
I mean, you'll just hear
separation
the
of
same
state
thing.
of church and
Okay,
state.
all right. So he doesn't
Him
actually say anything?
Him carefully wording
Yeah.
Well,
that there are members in the family running, but the church doesn't
Is
specifically.
this not
I
just
think
gonna be
they-
people triggered about Trump in the comments. Like
yeah,
No,
it,
I'm just-
it definitely is. I've seen Trump more than 4 or 5 times just in these few comments. I think what he was actually saying about this
IRS.
being these Reddit people being upset about the separation of church and state and all that stuff because they're advocating for school board, which they have this big Florida issue that we're seeing.
There it is. Nope.
Scroll
Go down.
Form. What's this guy
down.
saying? What's this guy saying
Form.
about Form 13909?
Yeah, show that.
I just wanted to get on the gateway as a cult. It's funny.
Is
Or
the
any
form
tax
to fill out
organization
with
that
the
promotes
IRS
politics.
report? Oh, that's the one. Or any tax-exempt organization that promotes politics? What? Okay, I don't know the code on this. All I know is that tax-exempt
And how do they get away with it all the
organizations
time?
promote politics all the time.
Right. Yeah, interesting.
Maybe it's just not enforced or
Maybe
something.
no one. Well, they have 80,000 new agents, but they don't get that for sure.
An interesting article specifically on the political power of DFW megachurches, cars, community, and Christian cults. 3 things I live for.
Let's go, dude.
Those are now my 3
Twitter bio. Post it.
Bro,
Oh,
I'm changing
man.
my Instagram
Incredible,
bio right
Nolan.
now.
Incredible. Listen, I didn't. So I
Can
had.
we just do maybe this is something worth Googling. Can tax-exempt or to me, it's like maybe there's certain types that can't.
Can a nonprofit?
Can a tax-exempt organization make
It wouldn't surprise me if there's some sort of
Political
verbiage
endorsements.
out there somewhere that alludes to that.
Also,
I don't
didn't this
know
guy
about that. I have no
technically
idea.
not endorse anyone? They didn't. He
Yeah.
just
Right,
do
and there's a
wink,
reason
wink.
why, and there's
I mean,
a reason why he chose. You see him in the video, like choosing words
But
very
was-
carefully.
And I was just wondering if that was for legal reasons.
Yes,
or
it's
is
for
that
legal reasons.
or is it because a lot of people take a big offense to the
What should I
political
endorse?
recommendations coming from the
Endorse
pulpit.
politics?
That's
What should
very
I say?
sensitive
It's probably
within
both.
The congregation.
But Gateway has taken flack for the last multiple years on this since the obviously big time in the 2020 election. Honestly, I hadn't put a lot of thought into this while he pulls this up. My issue with this is more an issue with mega churches rather than the not endorsement that he did, which is more like can the pastor really be sure that by flashing their names up, is there people in the congregation who's going to take that as Bible?
So this is irs.org.
I'm in the middle of a sentence. Are there people in the congregation that are going to be like take that as Bible and then like go and vote for these candidates without even doing any diligence? And is the pastor close enough to his 10,000 member extended church network? How many?
Gateway,
Dude.
It's
Come on, man. He's
Yeah.
making.
it's
Okay,
it's a lot.
50,000
Yeah,
member
probably.
church. Is he possibly close enough to these people to know that that his church can all go vote for them and they'll have good outcomes as a result?
Like
Yeah.
the person that he endorses will have a good outcome.
Well, just that like by flashing their names up on screen, which he did, some people might just automatically like, oh, I saw that name, vote.
Oh
Right.
yeah, definitely. Some
Oh,
people,
100%.
And so,
100%.
Does he have enough confidence in those candidates to stake his own reputation and
Reputation.
his standing before
Unless
God
it's illegal,
really on
I
that?
feel like that's on him.
But so my point is that's really the main issue I take with it is like I want to know that this guy has actually vetted these people before flashing their names up on stage before 50,000 people.
Yeah, if this guy was the leader of your church, you would want that.
And so it really
But
depends on
from
what type.
From the reason that your average Redditor
Right,
is
that's
mad
right.
about it, I'm like it just doesn't bother me.
It basically depends on what type of nonprofit you are. So
what are churches? It's
hold on,
section
hold on.
501c3.
yeah, 501c3 can do it, but 501c4, 5, or 6 cannot. Wait, so
Okay.
can.
No,
Can.
no.
Sorry, can.
No,
Can.
no, no.
501c3 cannot, and 4, 5, and 6 can.
Oh,
Essentials
so
are
the church-
501c3.
Yeah,
are?
yeah. 501c3 is the most
Okay.
common nonprofit, tax exempt nonprofit, and so that's why he's saying that because
And are-
And it doesn't say endorse. It
What's
says
the
just make
reason?
oral statements on behalf of.
Yeah, I'll say this: the
why
type
did
of
this happen?
Why did what happen?
it doesn't say, it doesn't give you a reason
Right.
on
Why did
IRS
this
obviously,
become
but
law?
I'd
yeah.
be interested to know more
It
about.
probably has to do with PACs, like how they want, PACs to be structured or not structured.
They
So
probably don't want you using your tax exemption benefits, as in you having more money because you're not paying taxes, to create these funds for.
No, but 3 types of tax exemptions can. Why are 5? What
I don't know what 4,
goes
5s,
into
and
being
6s
a
are.
501c3, and why do those ones not get to do it?
I'd have to pull up what.
Why are they different from 4, 5, and 6? That's what I'm asking.
I don't know what
and,
they are.
and if I have a hunch, it probably goes back to there was probably some big thing about this decades ago or something
check this out.
that was a separation of church and state issue, and they
Yeah.
probably tried. I bet 501c3. I'm making a lot of assumptions.
Yeah.
Maybe there's probably they're religious.
There's probably a mega
organization
church in
and they
Texas.
don't
C4
want
is related to social welfare generally, whereas C3 is related to religious,
501c3.
charitable.
So check this out, though.
If somebody doesn't want.
If 501c, it just says C, blanket statement, organizations that make expenditures for political activity may be subject to tax under the
Expenditures.
527.
So
F.
what about saying it?
Yeah, exactly. So like, no, this is
Shame on-
just an add-on. I think they can't. It just
I think
says
expenditures could probably be
may not
defined
publish
as
or distribute
statements.
printed statements
Yeah.
or make oral statements on behalf of. That's just an add-on that I was reading.
I think it's more
taxes.
has to do with the fact that there could be too much of a kind of kickback type relationship to tax exempt organizations,
Oh
and they
my
have the
gosh,
relationships with politicians, and they can endorse them.
But
Listen, I'm not
okay,
saying they
come
fixed
on.
it.
But
Come on,
there's
no,
kickback
listen.
relationships from every freaking angle.
I didn't defend it. I'm just saying there could be a reason for the rationale for the law.
So Sky, when you brought up separation of church and state, that is a hot topic, and it has been for a very, very long time. And I think that's because a big reason for that is because the evangelical vote has been,
Strong.
has been in favor of the right so much, and separation of church and state has been a very big deal. I bet this 501c3 classification and not being able to have religious organizations be able to make these types of endorsements probably goes back to something to do with that. The left probably won that battle at some point, and now here we are. We live in this world where they can't, because that would be.
Are you talking about the origin of how
This
people
rule.
wanted to separate church and state, or this specific rule?
The origin of this
I
rule,
bet
and
the
he's saying
origin
it
of
leads
this
back
rule
to
goes back to it was probably at some point made as a separation of church and state issue.
yeah.
I'm making assumptions, but I'm assuming that's how this happened, because it's definitely isn't
Yeah,
how
'cause-
it was in the 1800s or whatever.
Yeah.
People did this all the time,
They had to.
and I mean, also it goes on all the time today.
Yeah.
Well, clearly, dude,
so-
we're looking at the guy do it.
Yeah, people, and a lot of people do it a lot more explicitly than him. They're just usually in smaller churches, not Gateway Church.
But when it comes down to it, for this one little rule here, I wonder if it's just a matter of, they don't keep track of it that well. And that's why that guy was like, you got to report this to your IRS agent, which do they care? I don't know. Apparently not.
Depends on which one. But
Yeah.
also, the founding fathers definitely were not all about separation of church and state. They were all very religious.
Yeah.
Most of them were very religious, and that's why there's religious imagery and phrases and statements plastered all over a lot of founding documents and
Money.
memorials and old historical buildings and government buildings and money and everything. They were definitely all about it. That's kind of a modern concept of trying to keep it out. And I don't see why, I don't necessarily agree with it. I'm not a full libertarian that thinks we have to box all that out. I'm a voter. There's no reason I can't vote about what I agree with. And if I want my country to be a Christian-based country, I think I have that right to vote that way. And if the country decides we are a separation of church and state country, and whatever led to 501c3 coming to be, which I don't know the history on it.
I can't find it. I'm looking for it.
Yeah. It's something I'm kind of interested in. I kind of want to look into it, but it probably goes back to something like that.
Yeah, some random battle we
And
had.
I'm sure
a long
it
time
was
ago.
left motivated because it's
Legal
to
battle.
it's to who that's in place for is to keep mostly the church from endorsing people, and they would overwhelmingly go with people that would be pro-life generally.
I mean, yeah, I believe you're right, but I would also just add, recognize that all of the scientific nonprofit bodies, which are typically very left leaning, also fall under that
So it
category.
wasn't just religious?
No, it was
They are
religious,
501c3s,
scientific,
but that's the most
charitable.
common.
It's a category.
It's the most common category used for nonprofits.
So the American Heart Association, I assume they're a 501c3. I don't know for sure. Can't endorse a candidate.
They probably have a couple, actually. Just funnel that crap.
What do you mean?
So you'll
couple
open up
what?
a 501c3 as whatever, and then you'll have another organization that's normal, but you'll be able to funnel your money to the 501c3 and get tax exempts.
Charitable definitely doesn't surprise me because
It's like the
they're so
Black Lives Matter.
overwhelmingly religious.
Right, yeah.
Black Lives Matter
I'm not
organization.
disagreeing with your point. I'm just,
Scientific, I'm kind of surprised about.
That's why everyone freaked out about the Black Lives Matter thing, by the way, because they were a 501c3, but they were able to. Yeah, they had two organizations open. It was a 501c3 and a normal corporation, and they were able to funnel money somehow to make it legal, technically, and then pay all their people off. That's why they got in trouble. That's why everyone freaked out and was like, "What the heck, dude? They're paying their
they were
CEO tons of money, and it's from a nonprofit, and it was like not written in their bylaws or whatever that they get paid that much. It wasn't a normal salary; it was abnormal. So
yeah.
So what we learned is that we need to find out why this rule exists and whether it's targeted at religious whether it was originally targeted by some entity that would want to ban religious organizations from having a larger political voice.
Yeah, I'd like to know more about the origins of that. My assumption is separation of church and state issue at the probably federal level. And
it tracks.
Yeah, I mean, that's
tracks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad we talked about this, dude. I had literally no idea about this stuff. So
anyway, that's it on that topic.
That's awesome, dude. Cool. Wow, that's great. You guys don't want to talk about Tucker on this show? We don't know enough about it. You don't talk about 2024. You don't talk about Biden. He's 80 years old and he's running for freaking president now again. He's
working
80.
for him.
It is working for him.
What are they giving this guy, dude?
Kamala Harris. If we start seeing her in the spotlight, yes, but I feel like I really
not that I
consume that much mainstream media. I just haven't seen her being elevated enough that they would want to put her in the
VP seat. I think she's out. She's done. She wasn't even,
like keep her?
Yeah, because
no, I think
I would.
You do?
You think?
Yeah. I don't think so.
I don't think they'll change it up.
I don't know. I would just expect her to be.
I don't think she's done anything negative enough to.
Nah, I mean that's the same. Yeah, I think
anything negative
that's
come out of
staying with Biden
from them. It's status quo thing.
Yeah.
Anything that's come out that's negative that they've done, Biden's been just as involved. So
I think it's kind of a weak move, like kind of showing a weakness to swap her out because you're kind of acknowledging that things are wrong.
Yeah. Do you think Biden will win the primaries?
There won't. They're not even. There probably won't be
because he's incumbent. He's just kind of like
they're not allowing to. They're not doing debates within DNC.
Oh, weird.
Which is actually kind of nuts to think about.
Because Robert F. Kennedy Jr. said he's running as a Democrat, and then I guess they're not doing it. Then that's weird.
Maybe he can run, but
he can just announce that he's going to do it just for publicity.
They're not going to give him a stage. They're not going to. Right? He can do what he spend all his money and do what he wants, but he'll get about as far as Michael Bloomberg. 500 million deep and nothing to show for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if those numbers true or not, but it was a lot.
Yeah.
Can you imagine 80 years old? I just can't fathom, dude.
I mean, Trump's not far off, dude.
Yeah, Trump was right there. He was only like 4 years younger.
Maybe I should say this: a terrible looking 80-year-old. You know.
Honestly,
he doesn't look that bad. What do you mean?
He doesn't really look that
he
bad.
He doesn't.
Trump looked way worse.
Yeah.
Well, no. You're right. Trump. Okay.
Trump
you know
looked
what?
way worse.
Actually, I think he's a very good looking
80-year-old.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
The look is, I guess, the normal. Everything else is normal.
Yeah, he's clearly suffering from dementia.
Yeah.
I've done absolutely zero research on Nikki Haley or any of the other leading horses. Any commentary that I should know?
Yeah, I haven't looked at Nikki Haley a lot. I've been focused on this Trump Carlson campaign that's going to happen. So
focus on figuring out how you can monetize that bet.
Dude, I'm just saying, man. What's funny is like Ron DeSantis, dude. He just
let me check the betting odds and see who they have.
Check that out.
They probably have a line for Tucker Carlson, most likely.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. He did a quick push, and now he's like, you know.
Well, you probably won't get a. I don't know how easy that will be for you to pull up.
Yeah, how easy will it be for me to pull up? I have no idea. What am I looking for? Polling data?
Because it varies by sports book. So.
Oh, you want sports bets for freaking?
Yeah, like what are the?
Sorry, dude. Yeah,
I'm not amazing at this. So.
Sports betting is not my specialty, so I have.
Put
no
in
idea
like
what I'm
Republican presidential betting odds.
Is that DeSantis' line getting crushed? Probably. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, but there's no other lines on there.
Oh, that's.
Oh no, top. Oh, there's only top 2.
So yeah,
give us some more.
That's what I was saying.
How do I? Okay, all right. How do I?
Top 10. Actually have a book.
Hit top 10. Where at? Is it on here or not?
Have a book.
Up there.
I do not have a book.
Look right underneath the title. Right underneath the title of the chart.
Oh, there we go. Sorry, dude. Ron DeSantis, Nikki Haley, Mike Pence, Glenn Youngkin, Tim Scott, Mike Pompeo, Charlie Baker, Ted Cruz, Liz Cheney. Oh my God, these are like.
This is gonna be such a bloodbath.
These are non-competes almost, in my opinion.
A lot of them are like Ted Cruz isn't.
Who's that line that spiked recently?
Liz Cheney.
Wait, that's July 22. Oh gosh.
All right, I got numbers for y'all on betting odds.
Yeah, please, Jordan.
Right,
I'm dying here, bro.
We got Donald Trump as a 2-1 favorite as a Republican nominee.
Ron
DeSantis 2-1 underdog. Nikki Haley 20-1 underdog. Tim Scott 28-1.
So
Tucker
wait,
Carlson,
did you say that
33 to
DeSantis
1.
and Trump are tied at 2-1? Is that what you just said?
No, Trump is a 2-1 favorite.
Mm.
DeSantis is a 2-1 underdog. So basically, Trump and DeSantis are just opposite lines. If you bet $100 on Trump, or if you have to bet $200 on Trump to win 100. If you bet $100 on Ron DeSantis, you'll win 200. And now Donald Trump is the only one as a favorite. So it's pretty crazy. Sports books are pricing in Trump as the favorite right now. Like, not just the highest odd one, but also like 2-1 odds that he will win, which is pretty crazy.
That's pretty big.
Deeper than that, though, we go up to trying to make sure I'm doing my numbers right.
I can mute you, by the way.
22-1 on Nikki Haley, 28-1 Tim Scott, 33-1 Tucker Carlson, 40-1 Mike Pence, 40-1 Vivek Ramaswamy. He's the guy who kind of made some headlines when DeSantis kind of screwed up on defending Trump on that deal. Chris Christie, 50-1. Glenn Youngkin, 60-1. Honestly, that's a bet.
Yeah.
Glenn Youngkin?
Yeah.
Glenn Youngkin is
60
double
to
the
1.
underdog of what Tucker Carlson is.
Bro, Tucker Carlson's in
That's
there.
under
dude.
Chris
Promise
Christie.
you.
60-1 on Glenn Youngkin. That's probably that's okay.
That's some insider
And
info.
Jordan,
right
is
there.
I may
this,
throw a
and this
buck
is
on that.
financial advice, right?
This is not.
Oh.
But I might throw some money on Glenn Youngkin. Ted Cruz, 75. Kristi Noem, 75-1. Josh Hawley, 100-1. Kanye West, 100-1. We have a few more 100-1s. Tulsi Gabbard and Larry Elder. Ivanka Trump, 125-1. Marco Rubio, 125. Liz Cheney, 125. Greg Abbott, 125.
So let me get this straight. If they're even on this list, someone betted on it, right?
Yeah, they'll take money on any of these because it's a donation. There's so many of these that it's just a donation to the sports book. Here's some more names that once we're getting down into 500 to 1,000 to 1 odds.
Oh, because even if
Eric
they're
Trump, Steve Bannon, Lindsey Graham, Lisa Murkowski, Suzanne Collins, Condoleezza Rice,
Can you
Ben
mark it?
Shapiro.
I mean, this is just
1,000 to
people
1.
like. This is just people like.
Like, of course, the sports book is going to post these
Yeah.
people because if somebody loves Ben Shapiro, I'm throwing $10 on them. I mean, you're donating to the sports book. That Glenn Youngkin at 60-1 is the best
Is
one.
the
I
only-
think.
I'd love
Yeah.
to see it on IRS forum, dude. Donation
Honestly,
to sports book.
Nikki
You know?
Haley at 22-1.
I don't know enough about her, but she certainly seems to be getting positive press recently.
Do y'all want the?
And now that Chamath endorsed her, that's a.
do y'all want the
That's a
Democratic
tailwind.
side? Do you want the Democrat side?
Give me give me
Yeah.
the Democrat side, bro.
obviously
It's gonna be
Biden-
interesting.
Obviously, the DNC is backing Joe Biden. Like, they're saying Joe Biden, so he's at 15-1
Who's the
underdog.
next?
And you don't go until 11-1 and it underdog. And
Dude, they
that's,
all pop out of the
Kamala.
woodwork, dude. It's crazy.
Kamala. Interesting.
After that, ranging from like 16 to 100 in this order: Michelle Obama, Gavin Newsom. Crazy
That's
to me that
crazy,
that's
yeah.
more. There's another ARB. Robert Kennedy Jr.
Well, I thought Gavin Newsom was
Pete
going to replace.
Buttigieg, Hillary Clinton, Gretchen Whitmer, Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, Amy Klobuchar in that order.
Yeah, I thought
You're
Newsom was going to replace
Andrew
Kamala.
Yang.
he's on there at like 100 to 1, 1,000 to 1, range 1,000 to 1.
Oh man,
So Andrew Yang and Ben Shapiro have the same
Is
shot.
RFK on
That's
there or
about
no?
right.
We got Andy Cuomo on here, huh?
Is it-
What'd you say?
Andrew Yang and Ben Shapiro have about the same odds. Sounds about right.
is
Yes,
RFK on there at all?
Exactly the same. RFK? Yeah, RFK was.
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
He was high. He was fifth
Yeah, it makes
after
sense.
Joe, Kamala, Michelle, Gavin.
I don't know. People loved it. I don't know. We'll
All
see.
right, who
His
would you
speech.
rather hang out with? The bottom 6 Republicans or the bottom 6 Democrats? Bottom 6 Republicans: Lindsey Graham, Lisa Murkowski, Suzanne Collins, Condoleezza Rice, Jared Kushner, Ben Shapiro.
Oof.
Bottom 6.
That's not a fun dinner party.
Well, bottom 6 Democrats is just unheard of. Tammy Baldwin, Kirsten Gillibrand, Tammy Duckworth, Val Demings, Tom Wolfe, and Andrew Yang.
Okay, that's it.
It's already
I'm
a better
taking-
party.
I'm taking Yang.
Yeah, Andrew Yang
taking
is.
Yang.
I'll take
and
it
the-
with the 5
and the unknowns.
randos.
Well, it's like Andrew Yang or Ben Shapiro. Essentially, is what you're picking because like the other ones
Yeah,
are just
fair.
randos. You know?
By the way, we do have Democratic vice president nominees odds, and they
That's
do
what I
have
thought.
they do have Kamala on 15 to 1, so they're not anticipating. After that, the top ones are Amy Klobuchar, Pete Buttigieg, and Gavin Newsom.
So it's a progressive.
Gavin Newsom, I
Basically,
think,
they're
is
saying Biden's going to snag a progressive.
Republican vice president nominee. This is probably
Whoa.
the closest one because there's not a single underdog, or there's not a single
Wait,
favorite.
wait. Let me get.
Everyone is underdog. Yeah,
Wait,
you
let me-
got a top 3.
a top 3.
got
Tucker
VP.
Carlson's not in there, Sky. I'll tell you right
It's 2
now.
to 1. It's
All
2
right.
to 1, 3 to 1, and 6 to 1 is the top threes.
Pence is
Pence is in
probably
there?
Pence has got to be at least number 1 or 2.
Nah, wait, they're all underdogs?
They're all underdogs. So that's what. So this is definitely the hardest to call is Republican vice president.
Pence
right
is
now.
on there for sure. I agree
Because
with you, Adamo.
DeSantis
I think
is on there.
I actually think Youngkin will probably be on there, but
No, I
you
think
don't think so?
Pence.
Well, Scott for sure then. Oh, Pompeo. Oh crap. Hold on. Is Tim Scott and freaking Liz
No,
Cheney's an
Haley.
underdog.
No, I'm gonna call it Pence, Haley, DeSantis. I don't
Pence,
know in
Haley,
what order.
DeSantis.
Anybody else want to put anything in on that?
Yeah, I think Pence. Scott, and Pompeo.
All right. So you're all naming people that are in the list.
So they're not even on it.
But you're only on it with Nikki Haley. I think y'all need to think about the Mike Pence situation.
Well, I actually didn't even say Haley.
He's not going to Trump again.
Yeah, I
There's
didn't. I know.
bad deep
That's
blood
why
there.
the underdog. I thought that meant that they probably won't.
Yeah. Oh, well, everybody here's an underdog, but because the odds are.
All right, who is it?
Oh, well,
I'm
yeah,
curious.
Pence has no
But
chance
Pence
actually
is-
doing it for
Pence
sure. I
is-
just thought
Pence
he
is-
was
he's on the list, but he's
way down. Yeah.
And
Okay.
As is DeSantis, because he's
not
he's
Trump,
never
yeah.
gonna want to be VP if he has potential in his future to be a president.
Yeah, so Youngkin,
So, here we
Scott,
go.
Pompeo, yeah.
It's Carrie Lake, number 1.
I don't know
Y'all
who that
gotta
is.
Oh, okay.
just a logical female, pretty popular person. I can't remember who she's with, like what her role is. I just know I've heard the name. Nikki Haley's 2, Kristi Noem's 3. So they're really expecting female vice president. After that, Marjorie Taylor Greene. I don't think so, but it's already 8 to 1. Then Tim Scott. Then Tulsi Gabbard. So that what the
That's the
interesting
women.
thing is,
It's a women vote.
it's women or the one black guy,
Yeah,
Tim Scott.
Yeah.
So they're saying the
Diversity.
Republican VP is going to be diverse.
Diverse, yeah. Tucker
It's a bad way
Carlson,
to
bro.
put it, but
Diverse.
then it's Ronnie D, Kim Reynolds, Lauren Boebert, Ivanka Trump, Josh Hawley, Marsha Blackburn, Johnny Ernst, Mike Pence, Candace Owens, Tom Cotton. Now we're down to
Where's
No.
Tucker Carlson's money line at?
Tucker Carlson. So he was 33 to 1 on the president. He is not even a. He's not even a VP. He's not even on it. So
Adamo said he wouldn't even be on the list.
if you
How
call
crazy
up-
is
if
that,
you call
dude?
Up the sports book, if you call up the sports book, they'll make a listing for you.
Bro, give me a sponsor on the podcast and I'll give you $20.
Also, bottom 3 of VP for Republicans is the dinner party. Steve Bannon, Rudy Giuliani, Elon Musk.
That's the
That's the dinner party. That's the dinner party.
I'm going to be there.
Winning party, we have Republicans and Democrats pretty much pushing, with the Republicans being the very slight favorite.
That surprises me. Over
With-
the incumbent. That really
Yeah.
surprises me.
But
That's crazy, guys.
what
Yeah.
people are putting money on really pushes the book one direction or the other. Because the funny thing is, just overall odds to win, Joe Biden is slightly more of a favorite than Donald. Well, that makes sense because that's just head to head, Joe Biden or Donald winning. The party one could still be different. It's like anyone from the Republican Party or Joe Biden, basically.
We're at about 2 hours, 20 minutes. So I'll go ahead and wrap us up.
Sorry, but we just
You
went-
got the
I
sports
love
bets, guys. If you guys want to know what to bet on, you're right here at the right place. This is
And
not
it's
advice.
and it's not legal in the state
This
of
is
Texas.
not legal advice.
yet.
This is all random advice. Whatever you do is up to you. There we go.
But Shark
Not-
VPN is your first.
but Shark,
Surfshark.
dude. Yeah, Surfshark VPN is the one to use for sure. And I am
Absolute
not wearing
honeypot.
Nike, so I'll see you guys later. It's against the grain, so toasty.